You were raised in a world that gave you everything except the one thing you needed, an off switch. And you feel it in your chest at 2 a.m., scrolling in the dark, heart racing for no reason you can name. This isn't in your head. Something actually changed. And if you were born after 1995, you got the worst of it. Not because you're weak, because you're the first generation raised inside a machine designed to keep your nervous system in a low-grade state of alarm. Here's the part nobody says out loud. Your anxiety isn't a flaw in you. It's a normal response to an abnormal environment, and once you see how that environment works, you can start taking it back. Let's start with what the numbers actually say. Rates of anxiety and depression among young adults have climbed steadily for 2 decades, with a sharp spike around 2012. Researchers at San Diego State tracked this across hundreds of thousands of teenagers, and the pattern was so clear it's hard to argue with. The more time a young person spent on screens, the higher their distress. The more time they spent with real people, the lower it went. It's not a coincidence, it's a trade-off. And the trade happened fast. The word you need to know is the free time effect. What psychologists found was that free time itself wasn't the problem. It was what free time was being filled with. When free time is spent in person, hanging out, moving around, doing things, anxiety goes down. When free time is spent on a phone, staring at a glowing rectangle, anxiety goes up. The phone isn't neutral. It's not just another way to fill an hour. It's specifically built to hijack the parts of your brain that make you worry. Here's why. Your brain has a threat detection system. It's ancient, fast, and it never blinks. And it's designed to respond to danger, real danger, like a predator or a cliff edge. But the feed is not a cliff. The feed is worse. Because a cliff, at least, you can walk away from. The feed is endless, unpredictable, and engineered to deliver a small dose of threat every few seconds. Someone's success you didn't get, a world crisis you can't fix, a body you're told isn't good enough, and your threat system can't tell the difference between a real threat and an image of one. So it fires. Again and again. For hours. And when a system fires for hours, it doesn't relax afterward. It recalibrates. It starts treating the ordinary world as dangerous too. That's the machinery of anxiety, and you are handed it in the palm of your hand. Now the uncomfortable part. Adults who didn't grow up with this often dismiss it. Just put the phone down, they say. And there's truth in that. But it ignores why it's so hard. You weren't just given a distraction. You were given a social world. Your status, your friendships, your sense of belonging, they all live in the same device. Telling a young person to put down their phone is like telling a fish to stop living in water. It's not that simple, and that's not weakness. That's a real shift in the architecture of social life. There's a second driver, and it's quieter. Loneliness. Young adults today report feeling lonelier than any other group, including the elderly. Which sounds backwards, right? You're the most connected generation in history. You have thousands of followers. How are you lonely? Because connection isn't the same as contact. A like is not a laugh. A comment is not a conversation. The brain needs shared presence. Someone physically there, sharing a space, sharing attention. And without it, the brain registers a lack of safety, because for thousands of years, being alone meant being vulnerable. So the loneliness becomes a low hum of alarm that never quite shuts off, and that hum is anxiety. The third piece is performance pressure. This generation was raised on comparison at industrial scale. You don't just see a few neighbors anymore. You see the highlight reels of millions of people, optimized, filtered, and edited. And your brain, which is not built for that, compares your real life to their best day, every single time. And it does the math wrong every single time. The result is a constant sense of falling behind, of not being enough, of everyone else having figured it out. That's not laziness. That's a psychological trap. And it has a name: social comparison theory. When the reference group is literally everyone, nobody can win. So what actually helps? Not lectures, not just put it down. What helps is understanding what your nervous system is doing and giving it what it's asking for. Your anxiety is your brain trying to keep you safe. The problem is, it's getting terrible information. So you have to give it better information. And there are 3 things that work, and they work because they speak to the machinery directly. First, real presence. Not just messaging. time with people in the same room, with your phone somewhere else. Your brain registers this as safety. It's the single strongest antidote to that hum of alarm. Second, structured uncertainty. Do things you're not sure you'll succeed at. In person. Sports, art, a hobby that's hard. Your brain gets to practice handling uncertainty in small, safe doses. And that practice literally rebuilds your tolerance for it. Third, become aware of the comparison trap when it's happening. Name it. That's not me failing. That's my brain comparing my real life to their edited one. Naming a mechanism takes its power away, because your brain can't scare you with something you've already identified. And here's the deepest part. The anxiety you feel is not a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a sign that something's wrong with the environment you were dropped into. You're not broken. You were given a nervous system designed for a village and asked to live in a feed. And the people who feel this the most aren't the weakest among you. They're often the most sensitive to the world around them. The ones who notice things, who care, who can't look away. That sensitivity, turned into awareness, is a strength. The fix isn't to become numb, it's to become awake. To know what's feeding your alarm, to choose your inputs like they're medicine, to protect your presence with people who are actually there. Your anxiety has been lying to you, telling you the world is more dangerous than it is, that you're more behind than you are, that you're alone when you're not. And the good news is, once you understand the lie, the alarm gets quieter. Not because you suppressed it, because you finally gave your brain what it was asking for all along. A real world to live in. If this explained that 2 a.m. feeling a little better, subscribe to MindToAct for more psychology that helps you understand why you feel the way you feel.